who saw a vote I took, reached out to me, and swore up and down they would never vote for me again, they will never contribute to me again. I'm just totally through with Don Davis. And sent it through a text message. And I text back and I said, hey, I'm sorry you feel that way. If you ever wish to just have a conversation. And we, to my surprise, ended up speaking. And when we began to connect the dots, going back to even what Gabe is saying, hey, look, this stuff is coming literally across the border. It's going out to distribution points. It's coming up the interstate. It's coming into the highways. And now, you remember last week? Oh, by the way, we had like 3 people that died within a week of a batch of bad stuff. And the person said in that conversation, hold on, I know so-and-so, that was a good friend. I was wondering, I hadn't heard from them in a while. It went from that text message to now I'm on a movement with you because we have to do something about this. And what I'm getting at is we have to make these connections. Another thing that, for me, it's not even just about issues, so to speak, but it's about a broader understanding of what I believe the responsibilities that we're entrusted with, and that is 2 others that I'll speak on briefly. Young people in Eastern North Carolina, and here's the deal. You'll see reports that just came out yesterday. North Carolina, we consistently are leading the nation at the best place to do business. If you were to go to I-95 and go east of I-95, that's much of what I represent. If that was a state in itself, it would be the worst state to do business in the nation. And where I'm heading is, right now, in our state, about 2/3 of the growth are occurring in 2 counties. There are 100 counties in North Carolina. And I get a lot of these rural counties. And where I'm heading with this is, our young people right now are graduating. They're packing cars, waiting, because their mindset is, I'm leaving and I'm not coming back. I made a point to go to every single county, 22 counties, talking to young people from pre-K, having graduated young professionals. I was in one setting with about 100 kids, not 100 kids, but close to it. And these in North Carolina are what we call our early colleges, which are for advanced students and first-generation college bound. I asked almost 100 students, how many plan to stay in Eastern North Carolina? Leave, maybe go to school, military or something, but you want to come back because this is home. 4. We have to truly help our young people in Eastern North Carolina realize that they can live the American dream and stay home. It's one thing to leave because you want to leave. It's another thing to feel that you have no other choice but to leave. And I'm saying all this is we have to provide hope, a sense of hope, and restore hope from young people. And I was so inspired the other day. I went to Pamlico County. I was talking to a group of seniors, and the seniors said to me, what can you do to make sure there are more activities for young people in our county? I'm saying all this stuff. I mean, these are the things that matter in terms of how we connect. And some of this is not even a bill that we file, but just truly lifting up young people and providing hope. That's why for me this year, we get one guest at the State of the Union. I brought a young person, senior in high school, farmer, to the nation's capital. We have to be serious about it. You have to go out of your way to bring young people into this equation. Even in the political process, I think is important for that level of engagement. If we're concerned, why is it that young people only come out during major election years? It's because we're not cultivating the relationship with young people. And I think we have to continue to breathe hope and a sense of trust that we do care and we are concerned about them as people. And no matter what the issue is, I think that's the connection. The last thing I'm going to say here is my grandmother, I talk about my grandmother a lot. My grandmother raised me, and there were so many just wonderful values she shared with me. One of them was, and I still remember growing up, my grandmother would say, "Baby, there's some good in everybody." And what she was talking about is respect and living life in civility, looking for solutions and working with people and trying to find that good. She said, "Baby, there's some good in everybody." And then, Gabe, I came to D.C. And I was like, "Oh, Grandma, I don't want to let you down here." But where I'm heading is people back home, they see how we behave up here. If I wake up and all I look forward to do is to throw an attack at the other side, and we're not serious about coming up here to work on issues, trying to solve problems that are on their minds, I believe they see through that. But I also believe, too, knowing Gabe and many others, they see us coming up here trying to work to help on these issues. And when they see that their member of Congress is up here trying to sort through these things, I believe it matters.
Yeah, I think Congressman Davis makes some excellent points about, don't just come up to Washington to get into fights. But of course, that's what people see. And do you worry, Congressman Vasquez, that you look at the data now going into the 2026 election, a lot of the Hispanic voters snap back, black voters snap back, the youth voters snap back. I mean, the Democrats are poised to do quite well in this election. Do you feel like a lot of that's probably based, realistically, on just a reaction against the Trump administration? It's what they call a thermostatic reaction against the incumbent administration. It's quite unpopular. Do you worry that that will basically make Democrats, or is making Democrats complacent? We really don't have to do the hard work you guys are talking about because everybody hates Trump. I mean, we just rouse the partisan masses, get them out there to the polling booths or voting, however they vote, and just cast a vote against the people in office now who you hate. That's a really different deal than I think what you guys are advocating.
Yeah, complacency is not an option in a hopeful majority that we will have in the House, and that requires each committee to have both a policy agenda ready to go. Certainly a lot of voters want to see accountability for the corruption in this administration. I think the most important thing is delivering for Americans with real solutions. And I'll be honest with you, they got to be bipartisan solutions. Just because we have the majority doesn't mean the reflective position we should take is that we are going to run over Republicans. It should mean where can we meet in the middle to create lasting policy, economic policy for working families that will last through these turbulent political times, right? And I think that's incumbent upon having members of Congress from diverse parts of the country that advocate for North Carolina, that advocate for New Mexico, advocate for Indian country, advocate for the border, these kinds of things that take this stuff seriously. Now, I came here to work, right? I'm back home, I tell folks, I have a house, a truck, and a dog, and for New Mexico standards, I made it. Like, I'm well off, right? That's what I need. That's all I need. And so it's having a body of folks that are prepared to do the work, who have the interests of this country and the American people and their constituents in mind and are serious about it. Not about going on TV and lobbing insults every chance they get or growing their, social media followers and becoming a, celebrity. It's about the people that are willing to do the work. And so I am hopeful that a new batch of candidates, and certainly we're seeing how some of these primaries are playing out across the country, that I believe reflect those backgrounds and those values and are coming here to work can help shape the direction of the Democratic Party under a majority that we will hopefully soon have. And that's going to take some internal pushing from members like us to make sure that we stay on that agenda and that we learn the lesson as a party, right? That these wedge issues, these toxic social issues that have divided Americans so greatly over the last several years, that's not what we should spend our time on, right? We can hold on to our values as Democrats, which is very important. It's why it makes us Democrats and not Republicans in many ways. The values of equality, of treating people, fairly, of making sure that freedom actually means freedom, right? That means something to me. And not dabbing into social issues, not dipping into people's personal life, not controlling what they can and can't do. But we don't have to make those our top issues, right? We have to focus on the economy. If we're going to propose real reform to government, it shouldn't be to make our lives easier. It shouldn't mean vengeance against the administration. It should be reforming government to help people at the end of the day. That's what we got to focus on. And so we do have to have a laser focus that requires strong leadership within our party, but that also requires folks like me and Don and so many others I'm sure you'll hear from today and you have heard, who have great ideas and who want to work on the policy stuff and work through the issues and work through the problems. I talked about the New American Immigration Plan, and I'm a member of the New Dems Coalition where I chair the Border Security and Immigration Task Force. And part of creating this plan was to fill a void in the Democratic Party on talking about immigration. And I'm not saying that I'm putting together a comprehensive immigration reform bill, because God knows that is,
Don't hold your breath.
yeah, that is a Herculean task in this environment. However, we can lead with values, and we can restore confidence in all of those voters that not only are we going to oppose ICE, not only are we going to oppose the draconian tactics of this administration, but that we're going to provide a sensible alternative which the majority of Americans actually want to see, right? A legal, a fair, a just system that includes border security and that includes fairness to the American worker. I think that's what we need to stand, those are the legs that we need to stand on policy-wise when it comes to immigration. And those other experts that are working on housing issues, that are working on social security issues, that are working on other economic issues that are really important, we should follow their leads as experts in the field and be able to coalesce around policies rather than the progressives are introducing this, the blue dogs are introducing that, centrists don't know where they're going to go. That's not going to work, and that's not going to give confidence to people in 2028 to say the Democratic Party has its act together, and now we're going to elect a leader that is going to work on the agenda the Democrats in the House. That'll be our task, right? It's to kind of set the table, to lay the runway out with great policy ideas and with regaining trust with the American voters that we can change things around and that we will reform the system for the benefit of the working class and the working people. So as soon as we get that majority, we got to get to work, and I'm ready to work.
Yeah, I mean, just to be provocative, wouldn't you say, though, or Congressman Davis, you can comment, that the kind of momentum, as it were, is on the left at this point in the party? It's with the progressives. They're the ones who seem to have the wind at their back. Do you feel that, how much of a problem is this going to be for people like you doing the kind of work you guys do to get the Democrats back to the center on an issue like immigration and other issues? How can we have much confidence at this point that the progressives will play ball? Because I think they feel, with some justification based on recent election results, that we're doing great. We don't need to compromise. How do you convince your fellow Democrats that, hey, that's really totally the wrong strategy? We're going to do well we did well, or we're doing well after the election, we'll say we did well, but what about 2028? What about the future? What about the way the whole country's going to be reapportioned basically in the direction of the Republicans? We got a lot of work to do, and we can't afford to move away from the center. We got to move toward the center.
I want to try to maybe pull the questions together because I believe they are meaningful, both questions. And that is, most people motivated based on fear of what's going to happen to them, or driven by hope, fear of hope. And we cannot afford to strictly lead by fear. In other words, look at what's happening. You see everything that's happening, because that's eventually not sustainable. And to me, what I believe is important is the foundation of hope. This is why. This is the why. Why Democrats, why support. And when now we look at whether progressives, more moderates, we have to encourage the why. And that is truly want to think about, whether we see a big movement of the progressive agenda or whatnot. Here's where I'm heading at the end of the day, is if we totally lead through the fear and have no answer, because what happens, you've relied on the fear, everybody's afraid of Trump and what's going to happen, but then you go into a majority and you have no agenda. You have no clear agenda, no clear purpose where you're going. Where is that taking you in the long term? It's an unsustainable pathway to maintain, because all you're now doing is going out there, and the other person now is driven by hope or fear. Where I'm heading in all of this is, I do believe it is important and it's essential for us to come together again to get to the why. How can we help families, and how can we stay focused on the why we are given this opportunity to serve the American people?
Well, we're just about out of time here. We've got like 18 seconds. Any last words from either one of you on our great and noble task of reaching the median voter? I think you've given us a lot of great hints, but anything else you want to add?
I'll just add that I think part of our role as this body here serving in Washington, and certainly as the Democratic Caucus, is about that mutual respect and leadership, and to your grandmother's words that there's good in everybody. I think that is a philosophy in which we can govern both internally within our caucus and in a bipartisan way with Republicans. And so as we talk about this agenda and the clashing of ideas potentially with different factions of the Democratic caucus, I have faith in people. And myself and Greg Casar, the chairman of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, have a great relationship. And we talk about building an economic agenda together that moderates, centrists, progressives can agree to, and starting off on that path, right, rather than having pre-cooked proposals and then battling over them and then going on TV and arguing about who's right and who's wrong. And so if we take that approach internally as a caucus, I believe that we will be in a much better place, and I am hopeful. And that does require this new batch of leadership, these new members that are coming in who have a strong desire. They all have their motivations for why they ran for Congress. And many of them, whatever political ideology or spectrum they lie on, have a desire to change things for the better and to make actual change. And I think what voters are most frustrated with, and why we have such a low approval in Congress, because the things that we need to get done never get done around here. And we need more people that are willing to get those things done. I believe that's how we reach the median voters. They need to see that Democrats are going to be the party of action, not the party of talking heads.
Well, maybe we'll just leave it there. That was such a great coda. Thank you, Congressman Davis. Thank you, Congressman Vasquez. And okay, go out there and reach that darn median voter. We need all the work we can get.
All right, everyone, we're going to lunch. Again, this is our lunch break, but just a reminder to vote in the presidential straw. You can check your emails to do that, or you can go to the merchandise table and vote in the presidential straw whenever you can. Thank you.
At least one of the mics was.
Second. That is so weird because he was working before, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Although you were sending me music.
right, and then you're not even getting music. Sending you music on both channels. On what? Channel 1? Channel 2.
Not me, but it doesn't matter. I can switch this. Getting it. It's a little quiet. Yeah, it's just, this mic is just.
So, we go back to music.
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay, so I killed music on that one. Yep. Let's see. Now you should be able to. Yeah. Okay. Check. All right. That one's good. Let me try one. Check. Probably.
Okay, we're gonna let a 5-year-old, 10-year-old, tell me what age
Just one. And you know, because you've done this before, but your inputs are okay, all that. Yeah.
Yeah, because if we were getting that other one,
Right.
it's set up the same on the left channel.
Okay.
Here, let me just switch it.
Yeah. There you go. Exactly. So it's gonna be the other microphone.
Yeah,
but we're gonna say at the same time, go make a decision. What age? You name it. And all I can say is I can speak for myself. I'm still writing. I'm not the same. And I'm just saying, regardless, this is a pyramid that embedded into our community. People understand and get it. So why now do we have?
I'm good.
And I'm not saying it goes against
Check. 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 It's the cable. So it's the cable. Yeah. I'm gonna replace that cable.